Good morning, students. Today we'll start Political Science, Chapter 1, that is Power Sharing. Power sharing is a new form of instrument. Mostly it is followed in the democratic countries. You might have read about various forms of government in previous classes, like we have monarchy, aristocracy, democracy. So, if you take like monarchy, that is king rule and all, in that form of government, in such a form of government, we cannot find the power sharing because everything lies in the hand of one person, single man. But when we talk about democracies, because nowadays many countries are adopting democratic form of government, moving towards democracy. So if we see a democratic form of government or a country having adopted democracy, then power sharing is a must. In our lesson, power sharing, we will discuss about two countries of two continents with different features, climatic condition, geographical features, size and location, and about their power sharing, similarities and differences. Now, the first country is Belgium. You might have heard the name Belgium. Belgium is a small country in Europe. It is a European country. Belgium, a small nation. If you see its size is like equal or less than even the state of Haryana in our country. It is equal to or it may be even less than Haryana, but not more than Haryana, the size of Belgium. And as being a small nation, Belgium, it shares its boundary with certain countries of Europe. They are France, the Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg. These are the four nations which share land boundaries with Belgium. The population of Belgium also not more or much just like its area. Its population is just little more than 1 crore. Imagine how small nation it is. But if you see in our country, there is no state whose population is less than 2 or 3 crores. So it is a small nation with less population. If you see the ethnic composition of Belgium, here in Belgium you find people of three different region and three different language living, but their religion is almost same, only the language and the region is different. Here if you see 59% of the people in Belgium lives in Flemish region and speak Dutch. 59% people they live in Flemish region and speak Dutch language. Another 40% people live in Wallonia region and they speak French. So these are the two regions. One is Flemish region and another is Wallonia. In Flemish region, Dutch are dominating, and in Wallonia, French are dominating. There is one more section category, that is 1% remaining, and that 1% remaining are German. They are in minority in Belgium. Again, if you see in the capital city of Belgium, Brussels, in Brussels 80% people speak French while 20% people speak Dutch. Now in the capital city, who is in majority? In the capital city if you see, the French people are in majority, while as in the region wise, if you see, Dutch are in majority. So, this is the ethnic composition of Belgium. Now, let us see the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka. It is quite little complicated when compared to Belgium. Now, in Sri Lanka, if you see, Sri Lanka is a neighboring country of our India. It is an island nation and few kilometers off from the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. Its population is around 2 crore. Same, not much. Okay, its area also, its geographical features, area and condition are similar to the state of Kerala in India. The geographical feature, condition, climate, everything almost similar to Kerala. The major social groups are Sinhala speakers. Sinhala speakers are around 74% in Sri Lanka. The Tamil speakers are around 18%, and in that 18% there are two subgroups. Tamil natives of country are called Sri Lankan Tamils. They are 13%. The rest 5% whose forefathers came from India as a plantation workers during colonial period are called Indian Tamilians. Indian Tamils. So out of 18% Tamil, 13% are native Sri Lankan Tamils. Remaining 5% are Indian Tamils whose father once upon a time during the British period went as a intended labor. In Hindi we say Bandhua Mazdoor, and they settled there and they were known as Indian Tamils. Now most of the Sinhala speaking people are either Buddhist, while most of the Tamil are Hindu or Muslim. Once again I will say, listen carefully. Most of the Sinhala speaking people are Buddhist, who are in majority, while most of the Tamil speaking are Hindus or Muslims. There are about 7% Christians also, who are both Tamil and Sinhala. These 7% Christians are either Tamils speaking or Sinhala speaking. Sri Lanka emerged independent in the year 1948. Few months later of our country. They followed a form of government which is known as Mediterranean. Now, let me know you what is the meaning of this Mediterranean. A belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants by disregarding the wishes and needs of minority. In a simple way you can say, a belief that majority community should be able to rule means everything must be done and accepted as per the majority community. Minorities are completely neglected, disregarded. Now, India was known as a classical colony during the British time, and Sri Lanka was known as a crown colony. Just now I told that it emerged as an independent nation in the year 1948, few months after India. But the democratically elected government in Sri Lanka, they adopted a series of Mediterranean form of government. The government which was elected was based on democratic principle, but after coming to the power, they have changed the system of ruling, governing, and they followed the principles of Mediterranean, which established the supremacy of Sinhala speakers. In the year 1956, an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as only official language and disregarding Tamil. Only Sinhala applicants were allowed for university positions and only they were given government jobs. So by 1980s, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil Eelam state. Eelam is a Tamil word which means state in the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka. You can see here in the map of Sri Lanka. In the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka, these Tamilians were in little more in number. So they wanted to be a separate independent region for these Tamils in the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka. But the distrust or misunderstanding between these two communities turned into widespread conflict, which gave birth to civil war. Now let me know what is civil war. The meaning of civil war is a violent conflict between opposing group within a country which becomes so violent that sometimes it may appear like a war. Civil war is within the country among various social groups. Now, as a result of civil war which was spread in Sri Lanka, thousands of people of both the communities have been killed. Many families were forced to leave the country as a refugee and many more lost their livelihood. You can say almost the economy of Sri Lanka was disturbed. Peace and harmony in Sri Lanka was totally disturbed because here the government did not follow the democratic principle. They neglected the democratic principle. They gave priority to a particular single religion and language. So students, tomorrow again we will continue. Thank you. That's all for today.